So they are very soft. Okay, so I found my little blender. Of course it was right behind the big blender. Okay, what are my chances of not having enough flour? Welcome back! Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Kathryn, the Aerogarden Homesteader, and today I am making some oatmeal cookies. But this cookie has a slightly different method to it. Like, I've not seen a cookie like this before, and maybe there are other recipes like this, but I have not. So what I'm doing is I am measuring out a half cup of hard raisins. I find it works well with hard raisins. You can use fresh ones as well, but I like to use the hard ones because what else are you going to use really hard raisins for? So I need a half a cup, and I will put this in a third of a cup of water and let them sit for a bit. Now I like to really pack my cups in. Okay, extra raisins here. These ones are a little more on the fresh side, but okay. So a really nice packed half cup of raisins. Put the rest of those in the bag. And I'm going to get my third cup of water. I like to use hot water for this because my raisins have been sitting around for a little too long, and this helps soften them up a little bit faster. If your raisins are more fresh than mine, feel free to use just whatever water you have. Now I'm hoping it'll work in this. I have not done it in this blender yet. Normally I use my little tiny food processor, but I don't know where it is, and I'm not going looking for it. So that is just going to sit there for a little bit while we move on to the next part of the recipe. Okay, my kitchen is an absolute disaster, but let's get this going. Okay, so I need a half cup of vegetable shortening. Of course, I also forgot to get an egg out. I have made this recipe before with raisins and all kinds of different add-ins, so when I get to the add-in part, feel free to get creative. This recipe also freezes really well if you want to have frozen cookie dough to use at a later date. But this is a recipe that has a really nice soft texture. So if that's the kind of cookie you're looking for, that soft oatmeal cookie, this is it. Okay, so I need a cup and a half of dark brown sugar. Find some room for stuff. Okay, and if you've been following along for a while, you know I don't have any brown sugar, so we are going the white sugar route, and we are going to put molasses in. Probably about 1.5 tablespoons will get me, probably closer to 2 tablespoons, honestly, will get me the darker brown sugar than just putting in 1.5 tablespoons. But this is, if you're making your own on the fly like this, you know, you can adjust to your tastes. So if you prefer a lighter brown sugar, just put in less molasses. Okay, 1.5 cups. I'm going to start creaming this together, but it is not going to cream together very well because there is not enough shortening to sugar ratio to allow for it to cream in really well. But you can at least get it started. That is where the raisins come in. We're going to make a raisin paste and add it in. So it's kind of like using applesauce. It saves on the calories from the fat in a way, but it's really nice. It helps keep it moist too. I think it's the combination of the, you know, the raisins paste and, you know, the puffy texture that I really like. It keeps it nice and moist. I underbake mine. I think that's why it makes it nice and moist as well. That puffy, they're just good. Okay, so that's about what you're going to get. It's going to be like kind of a sandy consistency. It's not going to really hold together. So I am going to get this blended up. I'm probably going to mute this part because it's going to be noisy. I don't know if that did the job or not. I think half a cup is not quite enough for the blender. Get that another little... It should be a nice uniform paste. Mine is kind of a chunky paste. I think it'll be fine. Guess I can try again, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it. Yeah, there's just not enough liquid in there. Oh well. My bad. Next time I will just have to dig out the... You know, I'm going to have to dig that out. I'm going to go find it, because this is going to bother me. Okay, so I found my little blender. Of course it was right behind the big blender. That's why I couldn't find it. So, I'm going to get this all blended up. Now the problem with using one of the little ones is sometimes the liquid will blitz out from the sides. So your mileage may vary. There we go. It should be a disgusting cohesive mess. So see, that's a lot more holding together, a lot better than it was before. So I'm going to get this scraped in to here and incorporated. Okay, there we go. Okay, 1 egg. Okay, at this point we are going to make the dark brown sugar part, so about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons. And we will add the 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I had a, okay, well, there we go. That mixed. Okay, next we are going to add the salt, about 1 teaspoon, baking soda, 2 teaspoons, and cinnamon. Calls for 3/4 teaspoon, but I've got the 1 teaspoon out, so I'm just going to go with it. I can just make it slightly scant and no one's going to complain. Get that mixed in. Okay, I will need 1.25 cups of oats. I think I have a 1/4 cup in here. Nope, I have the 1/3 cup, of course. Oh well, we'll go with it. Okay, what are my chances of not having enough flour? I need 2 cups of flour. Yeah, I don't think I got enough. Okay, I'm gonna get more flour. Okay, good thing I keep my storage bin of flour up here. Okay, let's get this mixed in. This is the point where you can go and do whatever you want mix-in wise. You can add M&Ms, you can add craisins, raisins, nothing, chocolate chips. My kids actually like mint chocolate chips with this, of all things. Mint and cinnamon. Who knew? We're not doing that today. I think I'll just put regular ones in. I have in the past divided the batch. So if you have different tastes in the family, you can always split this up into 2 separate bowls and have, you know, raisins for one person and whatever else the other person likes, sort of thing. Okay, that is that. It is a sticky dough, but the old-fashioned oats, you have to use old-fashioned oats. It will suck up some of that liquid and make it less sticky. Alright, I got some chocolate chips. Ready to get into them. We use the pull tab. Lost chocolate chip. Calls for 1/2 cup of mix-ins, or 1/2 generous cup. My kids won't complain. And that is literally it. Get those mixed in. I get these portioned out. I will probably freeze about half of this so that I got some for later, so it's always fresh eating. And I will bake some up so the kids have something to take to school during the week. So this is a low and slow bake. You bake this at 275 for about 18 minutes. But you can use the really big cookie scoop and get like really big cookies. Okay, I need to do a quick cleanup. I don't have any space, so I will be right back. Okay, I am ready to get these dished out. If you don't want to do the low and slow method, I understand that, you know, 18 minutes for a cookie is a long time. I have done it at 350 for like 12 minutes, give or take. It sort of depends on how fat you make your cookies, but it's possible to do it faster. Just keep an eye on it. You don't want them getting too overcooked, because then they just don't taste that great in my opinion. And from the freezer, I just generally cook them the same as all my other cookies, 325 for 12 to 15 minutes depending. You know, when they come out frozen, they do take a little longer. So we're going to get one set done for school and one set for the freezer. Okay, so they need to be staggered a little bit, so I just don't have room anywhere for anything. Constantly hiding things on myself. Alright, let's get the last of this put on the sheet so it can go in the freezer. Yeah, but this is a really good recipe if you have stale old raisins that have been sitting around for a little too long. I bet you could do the same thing if you had currants or other dried fruit. I haven't tried it with other dried fruit, but I could see it working well. Just depends on the flavor profile you are going for. But I do hope you give this recipe a try, because it's one of our favorite oatmeal cookie recipes. It's got a nice soft texture. It does not take nearly as long to heat up the oven when it's only going to 225 or 275. Okay, that is that. I will show you how it looks when it is done. I got about 17 cookies, so depending on the size of your scoops, you can probably get somewhere in that range. So these have been out of the oven for a few minutes, probably about 10 minutes now, and they are nice and soft. You want to look for just a tiny bit of browning around the edge, but you really want them to be an undercooked cookie. So they are very soft. They'll stay this way for a couple of days as well. But this is a really nice soft cookie. They taste really good. They've got that hint of cinnamon in there, and obviously the oatmeal. So I really hope you give this recipe a try. Thank you so much for watching. I will have some videos up at the end that you might enjoy, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.